What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about when we could get the multiplayer for The Last of Us Part 2. Kind of shake things up, do a different kind of topic here. Now, really quickly, before I get started, I wanted to ask you guys a couple different things. The first thing is, if you guys have not already checked out my second channel, I'll leave a link for it in the description below. I'm doing a lot of different Last of Us Part 2 videos over there as well, and we're going to be trying different videos. I also wanted to ask you guys a real quick thing here as well. When it comes to these videos, they've, I think, been pretty divided, okay? I know that when I make videos on Last of Us, I know when actually a lot of people on the internet make these videos, they tend to get pretty split reactions. And I'm talking likes to dislikes. I'm talking noticing that some subscribers are leaving, right? And this is just being honest with you guys. I want to hear from you what you guys want to see. I know I've made some kind of negative videos on the game. I'm going to be talking about The Last of Us Part 3 in the next video. This one, obviously, is talking about multiplayer. So if you guys want me to do different things, definitely let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to have more discussions about some of the bad things that I think Part 2 did, and we're going to talk about that. We may even talk about how I would fix The Last of Us Part 2, and we're going to do that going forward, but let me know what you would like to see from me, okay? So let's talk about this, because this is something, honestly, very, very important, the multiplayer. This is something that, you know, as more and more people are getting their hands on this game, you're going to either like it or hate it, right? And I guess there's definitely things in between, okay? But let's just go to the two extremes for now. You're going to have some sort of opinion on this game. I think multiplayer added to this game would be absolutely phenomenal. So let's go over what we know. We know the multiplayer. It's going to be factions, right? I think it's going to be called that as well. It's going to be a massive improvement over what we got with the first game, okay? So it's going to be everything that we remember with factions in the first game, but everything bigger, okay, when it comes to the second game. We know, obviously, it wasn't included in the base game, but there's an entire multiplayer team working on this. Now, in my opinion, I don't think this is too far off. In fact, when they first announced it, I think I actually made a video saying, like, I'm going to call them out. I'm going to call them liars when they said that Part 2 wasn't going to have multiplayer. I'm pretty sure that's how they started. Neil Druckmann said that, and they had to clarify because basically they were teasing and saying, no, Part 2 isn't going to have multiplayer because, tricked ya, it's basically its own game, right? So it's so big, it's so meaty, it's so much of an improvement that it's going to come later. Now, when is later? Well, again, I think the sooner the better. You have a game that, again, people have so many different opinions on, but one thing I really think, honestly, is hard to argue with is the gameplay and the brutalness and all of that stuff is absolutely insanely good in this game. I mean, that's just my pure on belief. I'm really trying to destroy this game, get through it, but trying to experience, everything that basically this game has to offer. And one of the things this game does do so phenomenally well is make the combat and fighting enemies so amazing, like literally. So I mean, if you disagree, that's totally cool, but that's where I stand, and I love it. And I can think of all these different things, and I do want to talk about that. That's something I'm thinking of doing. If you guys want me to do that, let me know. I want to talk kind of about my predictions, what I would maybe include in the multiplayer, maybe maps that could be in it. I definitely want to do that, especially if this video does good enough, but that's something I'm thinking about doing. In this one, I kind of want to talk about, again, like when. So when. I've been saying that I think the PS5 is actually the best time to do this. I truly do think that. It's a while away, I guess in the grand scheme of things, technically, and really, in all reality, it's not that far. The PS5 is not all that far from releasing. We're only like 5 months away from it coming out. Coming out probably that second to third week of November, right? And what I would do is I would have a PS5 version of Last of Us Part 2, and I believe I'm going to actually talk about that, again, like I said, on my second channel. I think I have a video all about the PS5 edition of The Last of Us. I think I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow, or I already recorded it, so I think it's going to go up tomorrow. But that's kind of what I put together. So let me walk you guys through it too, so you guys are caught up to speed. I really think that's the best thing that they could do is, yes, it's still a while away, but you're going to have people that, and when we're talking about multiplayer, you're going to have people that skipped out on this game. You're going to have people that made it halfway through and then got to the Switch and were like, oh, nope, I'm done. You're going to have people, honestly, you're going to have people with all these different backgrounds when playing this game. And I think what would be good about the multiplayer, though, is it honestly, I think, brings a lot of people back. Now, here's the deal. Not everybody plays multiplayer. I get that. And I'm not arguing that for like any reason why you got the game. I would assume, especially because coming out of the gate, it's a single player game. I would assume that coming out of the gate, we all bought it because of the single player. Now, if the leak spoiled you, if you knew what you were getting into going in, all that stuff, that obviously changes things a bit. But you were buying this game for the story, I guess for the gameplay, right? If you thought the gameplay looked amazing, but that's what you're buying. You couldn't have possibly been buying it for the multiplayer. I don't know anybody who would buy this game day one to get multiplayer on it, a couple months later. Now, one other thing I do want to talk about is, do you have to pay for it? That's the biggest thing. See, it's going to be so big, and it's going to be such a big thing that's added on later. Are we going to have to pay money for it? Do we need to actually fork over additional money? I would understand, like, if they said it's like $10 or $15. Like, I would understand them doing it, but I would not like it whatsoever. And I think a lot of people would be, including myself, would be very, very upset because, now, I guess you could argue it because, like, we bought the base game and we knew it wasn't going to have multiplayer, but yet again, they did tell us that multiplayer was coming, but it is basically its own thing. You see the kind of like tongue twisters they've gotten people in. It's a tricky situation. But with the PS5, again, you're going to have all these people that are done with the game, that have skipped the game, right? Maybe they didn't get it right now. And then you come out, not only with a PS5 version, and I think it's very important to bundle it, or introduce it with the PS5 version, because again, you're going to have people that didn't buy this game right now, and they're waiting for the PS5. Maybe they're going to get the PS5. Maybe they own an Xbox right now, and they're going to switch over to PS5 when it comes to next gen, and to say, okay, a game that was very controversial, but, a game that obviously sold very well and set all these benchmarks, it's coming out again on PS5, and it's not back, because you could play it backwards compatible, but it's not, it's obviously it's the step 4, right? It's the smart delivery. It's when you buy the game on PS4, you get the PS5 version free, right? That's Microsoft's coined term, but I'm just saying it for Sony. It would be that, right? So if you have it right now, you would get it on PS5. And then if you didn't have it, maybe multiplayer is something that would bring you in, right? Maybe that's something that you could actually do. But I think you do it at the same time. I couldn't imagine, I honestly, it would look bad if, again, we're into August, we're into September, we're into, we're getting very, very close, and we know that it's coming for PS5, and, I'll be able to play it again, we'll all be able to play it again on our PS5 with improved, like everything, basically, right? But there's no multiplayer, and that's coming even later. I don't really think that makes sense. Another thing I think I even maybe talked about in that video on the second channel was, if you look at the past, what they've done with their DLCs. Now, Left Behind came out, I believe, like 9 months after it came out. It came out Valentine's Day of 2014, and obviously Last of Us launched June of 2013. And that was a quick 2-3 hour thing, right? And obviously Last of Us came with multiplayer bundled in. And Left Behind came out like 9 months later, 2-3 hour quick DLC. Uncharted, you look at Uncharted 4 came out in May, and then the following year, I believe it was August, it could have been July, but I feel like it was August, was obviously Lost Legacy, right? So full year and like 3 months later for that one. So, I know it's only 5 months away, but we know the multiplayer team's been working on it, and I just think, you already have a pretty solid foundation. I don't think we're going to be getting anything radically, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I think it's going to really pop out at us and be like, holy, playing the game as I'm doing right now, mainly the Ellie parts, I can really, and I've told my wife this, I'm like, can you imagine you in multiplayer, this map, that map, you're lying down, you're crawling through the bushes, you're shooting people with arrows when you're prone, right, when they can't see you, but you can kind of see them. Could you imagine, or when you throw the Molotovs and people are brushing it off if it's not a direct hit? Can you imagine that in multiplayer? It would be absolutely amazing. At the same time, they already have a lot of that build done in the single player, so really what I'm trying to say is, well, firstly, multiplayer didn't start production on this game yesterday, okay? They didn't just start making the multiplayer. It's been in the works for probably a year or two, okay? I would imagine a year, but again, it's a smaller team. We don't really know the intricacies of how those, and I guess I don't. If you guys do, definitely enlighten me, but, I don't think, my own personal opinion is, I wouldn't expect, or I wouldn't think it to take that long. So to give them 5 months until the PS5, it's around 5 months away. It could be 5 months to the day. It could be 4.5 months. It's within the 5 month range. That still is a pretty solid amount of time to do it, and it's not like they started this yesterday. They've probably, by the time we're all said and done, they've probably been working on multiplayer again, a year and a half, 2 years. Now again, smaller team, different kind of beast entirely than single player. I understand that, but I think it makes a lot of sense to put this out with the PS5. We know also that I guess we don't know for sure, but the rumor has it is Sony's going to have another State of Play in August, and it's going to go over a lot of the launch games for the PS5. And because it's only at that point, it'll only be 3 months away. That's when we would probably get Silent Hill, the new Silent Hill game. And I don't know if that would come out in that fall period, but we would get the announcement of it. But I think honestly, at that at that state of play, we could very well hear, hey, PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima, PS5 version of The Last of Us Part 2 confirmed. I had said this, when a thing you have to also ask yourself is, when do we start hearing about it? Because I really don't think it's all that long until we start to hear about it, but it's a little tricky because you have to let this game breathe, okay? I would give it at least 2-3 weeks to let the game breathe. You continue to market it. Obviously, people are playing it. They're not all going to beat it the first weekend, right? And again, you have to think about the wider audience. Some people have not seen the leaks. Some people are experiencing it for the first time. They're all playing. It's going to take them a while, and people have jobs. People have people are busy. Everybody's different, and it's going to take a little while. So you have maybe 2-3 weeks. But then the problem is you have Ghost of Tsushima. So do you want to promote and really push a Last of Us multiplayer when Ghost of Tsushima is going on? No, probably not. But in terms of Naughty Dog, after giving them a couple weeks, you're probably going to want to hear from them as to what comes next. Now, for games, it's a little bit, they're pretty secretive, especially because sometimes they go on vacations. Certain people go on vacations. They've been pitching things, for the past couple months, or they've been prototyping things, and they go silent for a while, and then, maybe within a year or two, we see them again. Okay, so games are kind of a different kind of thing, but again, the multiplayer is separate. So I think the way they are structured right now, I could see them giving hints of this over the next month or two, including during Ghost of Tsushima time, and then as we get into August, I would not be surprised at all if they announce in August, let's say it's like early August, now I don't know for sure, but say it's early August, they do the state of play, and they say, okay, again, PS5 version of Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 are coming launch day. Those are going to be launch day games. You're going to be able to do backwards compatible. If you already have them, you're going to get the smart delivery, or if you haven't gotten it yet, you're going to be able to get the PS5 version, and the Last of Us Part 2's game will be bundled with the multiplayer. I guess it is a question altogether of, is it a patch? Are we going to wake up one day and we're going to have to install a gigantic patch to The Last of Us that is factions? Or would they do something insane and say, like, maybe everybody gets factions? Like, this is a really out there idea, and I don't think this would happen, but you get, like, factions for free. Like, everybody could do it. That would be very, very interesting. Obviously, I think you'd have to have the actual game of it, but, again, is it going to be a patch? Are we going to have to buy? Are we going to have to buy it? Is it cheaper? Because again, if we have to buy it separately, that does kind of go into, well, do you get it cheaper if you already own The Last of Us, or do you have to buy it and you can't buy it separately? Even if you don't have The Last of Us, you can't even buy it. The only way you can buy it is if you have The Last of Us and you still have to buy it. You know what I mean? So it's a little tricky. I wonder how they're going to do that, but I would not be surprised at all if they announce the multiplayer with the PS5 version and say, okay, launch day, pick a day, November 17th, we're going to get The Last of Us Part 2 on PS5, and it'll come with the multiplayer. So if you buy it for the first time ever, if you're for the first time ever doing it, you'll get it, coming with it. And then everybody that bought it, today, or, a couple days ago when we all got it, they would get it. We would have to, install a patch. We'd have to install, an update to it. You know what I mean? So it'll be really interesting, but I really do see this as a PS5 launch kind of thing. Imagine it, right? A multiplayer for a very, very popular game. Again, not everybody is going to play multiplayer. Not everybody got it from multiplayer. Not everybody, people aren't multiplayer people. Some of them aren't. But at the same time, big game, big multiplayer game, you'd imagine. And then also to put it with the PS5, that would be a really stellar thing, I think, by Sony. I think that's what they should do. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. Lots to talk about. Let me know about your thoughts of what kind of Last of Us Part 2 videos you want me to make. Let me know your thoughts on this multiplayer. And let me know if you guys want me to make more multiplayer videos. Again, I have a lot of ideas of what you could do in the multiplayer, some map ideas, all that kind of stuff, but I do want to talk about that. But let me know what you guys want to see in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. I'll leave a link for the second YouTube channel in the description if you guys want to check that out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for watching all these Last of Us Part 2 videos so far. Got many more for you over the coming weeks. As long as I don't lose like half my fan base, then I will have to stop. But for now, onwards and upwards, right? So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video.